I'm calling this meeting to order at 12:47 p.m. And we'll do roll call. Alberto Torres, absent. Judge David Garcia, absent. However, he did send a notice. Luz Infante,
Present.
Cindy Cantu, present. Monica Reyes,
Present.
Mary Bender,
Present.
Angie Ancita,
Present.
Sandra Solis,
Present.
Cindy Ruiz,
Present.
Sandra Leindecker, absent. Did we get any notices from Councilman Alberto Torres or Sandra Leindecker? No notice. Okay. We did get a notice from
Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Garcia. Okay, so citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens here today?
We didn't get here in time to submit by 12:15. You have to submit it by 12:15.
Okay, so if we didn't submit by 12:15, is she still allowed to be here? Without somebody-
Tracy Voss was here.
I'm just saying,
it is-
she invited me, I'm from Pet Select.
It is open. I mean,
For the
she can be here.
citizen, right? I can be as a citizen.
You can be here as a citizen, yes. As far as the public comment, if you didn't get in in time, unfortunately,
Okay.
those are the rules. But you can definitely be
Thank
here.
you.
It is publicly, televised, so
Do
there's
you
no
want to spell
problem.
my name?
Yes.
Maysa Orelli, Orelli.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the prior minutes from
Wasn't there a
August
question?
31st.
I'm sorry. Wasn't there a question, Sandra,
Yes.
about the meetings?
Mm-hmm. Let me just go by, I know my notes.
I do have an observation. When it comes to the meetings, I think we need to clarify that because we were doing it on Thursdays. That was my understanding. And the day that we ended up meeting, that day, I thought it was just going to be done for that particular month in order to want to meet quorum. And since I believe Monica had mentioned that she had something that she was probably not going to be able to make it, so for that month, in order, again, wanting to meet quorum, that we were going to meet just on that Wednesday. But again, that's what I
In the
understood.
minutes, it is indicated that we had all agreed to meet on the last Wednesday. That's something that Dr. Leindecker had said that it would be easier for her. However, she hasn't shown up the last 2 times.
Right, so,
I don't recall voting on that, and it could have been that I was out. I
You were
stepped
out.
out, so I don't recall. And I didn't even know about the change. Nobody advised until I got the notification of the meeting last week.
because I
No,
was here
I
and
even
I was.
voted for it, even though everybody knew I wasn't going to be here. I had a prior commitment on.
Yeah, you
last
had already
Wednesday.
stated, yeah, and we wanted you to.
But that was
be here.
still ultimately the day that was decided that worked best
For
for
everyone.
everyone and for.
That was
So,
present.
but it was gonna be now from then on.
Can I be excused? I have to move. My son already came for me.
Oh, you want me to help you?
Huh?
Do you want me?
Okay.
No,
So
I
then,
can-
so then that is, okay.
If we don't mind, just wait until she comes back, because
Okay.
with her out, we lose our quorum. So,
Okay, so since we're gonna kind of like take a pause, maybe I would recommend that, like where we have the approval of the minutes, that we add a link of the minutes. That way everybody like looks at all that before coming in, and that way if they have questions. Do you think that's something we can do?
it can, as soon as Ms. Ancita comes back, y'all can put it for a motion on the
Okay.
table, and I don't see why we can't do that, but
Dale? Or are we attaching on the notice of the meetings?
The what?
The minutes.
Yes,
No, you're
No.
attaching an agenda, but there's no.
she's coming right back.
I don't see Tracy Voss being here, like in the minutes
On the
either.
staff report, or where?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Tracy Ball
Oh,
was the
yeah.
one that we had as a visitor?
And then she was like,
Oh, on the, yes, where are those supposed, like, whenever we have a guest, where would that be? And, like, when it's on the minutes?
On the roll call, it should be included.
It should be included.
It should be there, okay.
Guests, visitors.
And so her name is missing. Mhm.
and it says brief about APA. We took all the meetings,
The whole meeting was about APA.
the last one when we made a quorum, so.
So do we want, okay, so we'll wait for
Wait
Ms.
for-
Hansita to drop off the child
see
and
what
come
she-
back.
Who drafted these?
Christian was the one helping.
Ready?
Mhm.
She's back. Okay.
Okay, so do we have, if we're not approving the minutes, do we have a correction for the minutes?
We can vote to amend.
Do we have the amendment that we want to do? What we're gonna amend?
Adding Tracy Voss to
Tracy.
Luz, is that anything?
That, on the shelter operations, it was mentioned by Ms. Elizondo that Lax was in probation, in a 90-day probation, due to, I know that
Inspection.
the healthy animals exposed to, to
The inspection.
sick animals, yeah, due to an inspection, and a new assessment was needed.
Okay, so,
You know what else? We had also requested to get a copy of the ACS standard operating procedures, which we did not receive. But we were gonna review that
Mhm.
and help with that revision and we'll just send her a copy of that.
is that something that we would, as an advisory board, have, any to recommend or suggest? Because I don't think I don't think that's our call to do anything with administration or procedures or anything like that. I think, and maybe that is something that we need to discuss, like,
To do what exactly? What was the?
It's because she had mentioned that because some of the sick animals were near the healthy ones, or she had mentioned something to the nature of it being how their standard operating procedures were in compliance with that, so,
with the contract,
with the contract.
with the contract. So we asked, you know,
Like,
in general, we asked for a contract, which is not something that is up to us, that's why they have legal. And the procedures also too, like, again, like, we're here, we're an advisory board, we're here to recommend, suggest, and those suggestions and those recommendations are gonna go to council.
Well, they go to the director.
To the
Yeah,
director,
to
and
the-
then the director sees if it's something that needs to be presented to council, but it's.
But I think it's important, for, well, according to what I went into the Health Code 823, and our position should be, yes, we're only an advisory board, but we're supposed to be giving her recommendations, well, not just necessarily to her, but to the department in general, when it comes to, as long as, we're supposed to help them be able to comply with a.
Yes,
Tenía lo de la asociación todavía
es,
o acabo de los animales.
sí, animales.
Ah, sí,
Pásale.
gracias.
Who are you?
Yo soy Claudia Díaz, no más.
Is
Tenía,
this citizen?
sí,
Or she, Claudia Diaz? Welcome, pásale.
Gracias. ¿No puedo
Estamos
sentar
en la
en cualquier
junta.
lugar?
Sí, sí, estamos, si quieres sentar aquí,
Ah, ok. Gracias.
vienes a ver la junta de...
Sí.
Sí, ok, ya está comenzada la junta.
Ah, ok. Gracias.
So the
Right
the
there.
health code states that, correct me if I'm wrong, if I read it wrong, that as an advisory committee, we're supposed to make recommendations in general, not just specifically about, something in particular, but in general, anything that is gonna prevent the animal care facility to meet the requirements of the state. That was my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, you're the goal of this committee, right, is to make recommendations that will help strengthen, the committee in following, ordinances and the health and safety code. That, I mean, you can do. But I think this conversation originated with documents or what can be requested. Is that, what was the
No,
specific
I think
question?
it was more than that if it was necessary for us to discuss what was brought up by the organization that did the review, and that I believe, there were several findings that placed animal care facility in
I think
probation.
findings can be relevant to your
To discuss.
recommendations. I think I'd probably draw a line at maybe diving into the contractor city contractor relationship
Mhm.
contractually and things like that. I would say that maybe that's not within the purview, but recommended or asking for documents as far as inspections and reports and intake numbers and things of that nature. I would say that definitely is within the purview of this committee. But overall, again, keeping in mind, keeping in light that the goal of this committee, right, is to strengthen
yes.
the shelter and make
It's
positive
constructive
recommendations,
criticism,
making positive constructive
to make it better.
recommendations that could either strengthen the ordinance or that could move the shelter forward in complying with.
And we felt that in
recommendation.
order to do that, we needed to have the ordinances, and that's why they're requesting these type of information in order for us to review and see if there's anything that we can recommend or change in order to strengthen what we're trying to do.
And again, I'm not sure, I wasn't here at that meeting, but I believe some documents were requested. This meeting, if you would like to make a motion again, we'll ensure that any documents that are needed by this committee are given to you all with ample time before the next meeting, so that you can come prepared to discuss.
They're being provided here today, part of your packet, which is our
The city was
The chapter 6 ordinance.
yes, our chapter 6, this is our code of ordinances. So that was requested, so staff provided that for you all.
I think, Mr. Landy, one of the things that was requested previously was the APA findings.
Okay, you want that? Okay.
Yes, we also had requested stats. At the very beginning, when I first went to my first meeting, that did not happen, but it was mentioned that we were gonna be provided with stats
Okay.
from adoptions, current animals that were actually out there in foster care, about spaying and neutering, how many animals that were in foster care were not spayed or neutered.
how many are being euthanized?
Euthanized.
Okay, if I may,
Steps.
I want to go ahead and give you all a quick administrative update. Okay, and we had a town hall meeting. The city manager had a town hall meeting last week. And part of that town hall meeting, he made available on our website the new policies and procedure for the shelter operations. So number one, you can see that on our website already. Part of the direction, as you all already know, the director's not available. She's out on leave. I have been over animal care, and I'm working directly with these gentlemen here and Christian, all three of them, to move the organization forward. And during this transition, we're trying to get several things accomplished. So the policies are out there. Number two, the code of ordinances, they're here for you to see. And some of the things, there's 2 inspections that occurred. Okay, one was an APA inspection, and APA provided an in-depth report with recommendations. Management, so Mr. Neb, myself, and the director met with APA. And they wanted the city to do certain things. The director was uncomfortable with them. Do those changes. Certain things did not get done, and meetings were not held. And so ultimately there was a divorce of APA. Obviously it's all over the newspaper, everybody knows about it. The other inspection that occurred was a risk management safety inspection. Our own risk management department went to the facility and did an inspection. There's a report that was generated for that. And then they did a re-inspection about 2 weeks ago, and I just got that report last week of what has been done between the time of the inspection, which was in April, we got the report, and the report that was given to me last week. Have things been fixed or not? Okay, so there's a total now of 3 reports. The APA initial report, the risk management #1 safety report, and then in the risk management #2 follow-up report. If you all are requesting copies of that, I have no problem with providing that. As a committee, I think it's our obligation as a city to give you what we have so you can see what we have. And so that is what we're doing. Working with staff, there are certain things that we're moving forward with already. We're moving forward with, the city manager gave the director a directive to use our software to the best of its ability, which is IPOG, right? The PetPoint.
PetPoint.
With PetPoint, we've had the software, but we lack the training. That's coming. In November, we have a training, and then we're going to have on our website all the list of all the animals in there. That's the goal, so that people can log in, and I want to adopt this one or that one and work with our staff to do that. That's coming. So we are moving forward. We want to walk with you. We want your participation in these meetings. I'm hoping that we could have these meetings with quorums so that we can work together. You're not always going to hear a yes. There's always going to be reasons why decisions are made in the best interest of the city. Has to look at what we are statutorily responsible to do and what is outside of the statute that's nice to do, or that would be great for us to do. You know, we talk about things like the spade, neuter, and release, and all of this stuff that we've talked about, getting the animals, you know, we could send them, put them back out there. My understanding is that we would have to do that to 75% of the population we receive annually to even make a dent into the spade program. And that's in essence of over $1 million of an investment of what it would cost for us to be doing those types of procedures with everything that we get and release. 75%. According to the city manager, he told me this morning, he goes, those are unrealistic numbers, that we need to be transparent with the committee, because everybody's talking about how, oh, we need to do more spade, we need to do more of these surgeries, but where is the $1 million gonna come from, right? It's gonna have to come from somewhere. And so we need to be very transparent with you that you're gonna hear certain things. And I said something very important that I'm gonna speak to you all about. And I keep saying it over and over. It's a lot easier to be on the other side of the equation throwing rocks at the house It's simple to do that. It's never gonna be enough. And that's the reality of it. But I offer, and I've said it to the boss before, is there any organization out there that we could give big bucks to say, you all run it as a private entity and we will help you. And I don't know that there'll be any takers, because it's a lot easier to throw rocks than it is to be in the glass house getting rocks thrown at, you know? And so my invitation is to, let's not throw rocks, let's walk together. Because it's a lot of money to think that we're just gonna say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this. But from the outside, there's a lot of rocks flying all over the place. That's not healthy because it's not changing anything. All it's doing is making noise. Noise is important because that's how we see. But there's several other organizations out there in the public that, hey, we'll help you run it. You think you can do better? We'll help you. We'll help you. I'm not saying that that's what's gonna happen, but if any of you all were at the meeting, I said that. I invite any private nonprofit to raise their hand and say, I'm here. City, help me, I'll run it for you. And we will be happy to help push funds over to you and to help you, including our taxpayer money, because it's a mutual interest of all of us in this room. Okay, so we as an administrative team are gonna do our best to give you good reports and accurate reports. We're not gonna hide from you the number of animals that we have to put down. We're gonna tell you that we're not gonna hide anything from you. We're gonna be transparent, and we're gonna be able to give you guys, and want your feedback on how you think we can help, but please don't, I have been around for 30+ years in city government. The last 12 as fire chief, and now the last 1.5 as assistant city manager. And so I have seen that there's no stability. Just like there's no stability in the city manager's office, same thing's happening to the directorship of this department, because we can never satisfy all the noise. So if we can remove the personality from it and just formalize stuff with your help, let's get mad at the rules. Let's change the rules and let's fix the rules rather than trying to dispose of people like they've disposed of city managers and like directors have gone through the Animal Care Services office. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I see it as a thankless job. I've seen people get in and out of the different offices, and we need to stabilize, and that's what we need your help doing. Not criticizing, but stabilizing. And that's what I had to mention, Madam
There
Chair.
is another independent report, an assessment that was done by Best Friends
I have that one
Animal
too.
Alliances.
Thank you.
In
Yes.
addition, they provided what they recommended. They praised what they saw.
Yes, I saw it.
That was great. Things that were happening, things that were changing, people that were really doing a good job. But they also provided a list of resources
Yes.
to accomplish improvements. And that is what a shelter the size of Laredo's, there's not been anybody in the state that has been able to turn around a shelter the size of Laredo without association with a national organization. And that is where we have seen resistance at lax leadership in partnering up with any national organization. And that's just something that needs to be worked through.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of help. I attend seminars, I attend Zoom meetings all the time because I want to learn. I want to learn. And there is a lot of free money. There is a lot of grants for spay neuters for municipal shelters.
Okay.
Not for us, unfortunately. We'd have the money. But there is help out there. I think the city as a whole has to maybe, what is the word I'm looking for? Modernize their thinking and go after that money, because it's there. I've seen it as recent as 3 weeks ago that I attended a seminar in the Valley. A shelter got $250,000 for partnering up with a national organization and working with them on their adoption campaign. No fees.
If I may, I mentioned to APA sometime back, because they were the sole bidder for the contract that they got
Yes.
with us. And I mentioned to APA, I said, what would you, out of curiosity, what would you charge to take it over completely? I asked them, and they never gave us a response. And my priority is to take care of the personnel as well too, because we don't want to lose the people that have given so much to the city as well. So to take care of all of the people, if we can transition into this thing, Apple was like, we'll completely take it over. But they never stepped forward to present any proposal of any sort. And now we're even further apart because we're divorced, right? So,
Yeah, unfortunately. However, I don't think the door is 100% shut with APA. Do they know what the monthly budget is? Or the yearly budget, I'm sorry.
it's
They do.
public document online.
Well, okay.
Public document online, yes.
But there are organizations, and I'm learning this as I grow with Pets Alive. There are national organizations that would be willing to partner and come in and help and guide. However, we have to be willing to work with them.
Okay. I don't know, did I get off topic? I just kind of wanted to give you all that
No,
administrative.
everything is
I mean,
important. Everything
that's
is
all
important.
important information, like we
Yes.
would love to see that assessment report in order to see
So
what
there's
APA.
5 reports you're
Yeah,
gonna get,
so
right?
what the
4.
recommendations are.
4
and-
total. 4 total, right? 3 that you had
compare.
mentioned?
And yes,
Four.
yeah, there's 4.
And we can compare that to what we're doing and what they're suggesting and what we're doing right and what they think we might not be doing as good as possible. And then that's where we would come in as a board to advise and suggest, to see what we can do, what we can come up with.
I wanna make a suggestion. Can police department carry one of these, please? Because we call
They have it
police
available.
officers.
When I was the police chief, I told the staff in a staff meeting that we were going to enforce Chapter 6 as well, because we can enforce any of the ordinances as a police department. And so some of the officers, because we have our own division here in animal control, say, oh, but let them deal with it. We have enough with domestic violence, we have enough with theft, we have enough with all of, and
But-
so, go ahead.
They don't need to be rude with the ones that were helping the animals.
No, I know
We
that.
have even sergeants being rude with us.
If you could give me specifics, I'll
I'm
work
gonna
with the
give you
chief.
all the names.
Okay,
And well, our 24/7, and we
Okay.
don't get paid.
Yeah,
This is
I-
voluntary.
thank you for that.
Mhm.
If any of y'all have any concerns or complaints related to any of that stuff, I'll be happy to work with the chief.
Even they have calls of animal cruelty, and they don't remove the dogs with those abusers.
That's something, an important topic that you want to discuss. We can put that as an
We can
item
do
for the
it
next
as-
agenda, and we can read.
Because nobody talks about
Well,
it.
but I
But
think
I'm out there looking, making those.
that's very important, and
And
that
we'll
can
add
be
it to
an
the
in-deep
agenda.
discussion, just
We can do
so.
an open discussion as we finish.
Moving forward, for the next agenda, if you guys have something that's really important to you, send it to Christian so that we can put on the agenda, and that way we can have an actual item
I
to
already talked
discuss it.
about
Monday?
How about that?
We
No,
can
but to
discuss
put it on
next week or
on the
something.
agenda. So I think so, just to recap, were
Yes, if
the
we can
minutes
get back to
approved,
the
or?
agenda, if we can get back to the approval of the minutes, they are not approved. Do I have a motion to amend?
I think we need to, yes. I move to amend the minutes to include Tracy Voss as a guest. And I think that was it.
Okay?
I
Do I have a
second.
second?
I second.
Any discussion? Motion passes. Okay, so
Will
we've talked.
Christian amend these and then also send them with the new ones for this meeting?
Yes, so they'll get amended and get them done.
So we've talked about the possible action regarding the committee and what our purpose and responsibilities are here. So what they're going to do is provide the reports that we've discussed in order for us to be able to add them onto the agenda, read them, review them, and be able to talk to them in our next meeting.
What about the bylaws for the group?
Well, it's
They're here.
It's coming down. If we can just, we'll get to that right now when we get to the item.
Okay, so there's also, you know, we wanted to discuss the city ordinances, which they've been provided to us already, both via a link with the notice, and they've printed for each of us. Did anybody have a chance to look over them? This is something that I honestly do recommend that we look over and then discuss on our next meeting to see what improvements we can do. I think this is our start, because this is our base of how we can better the lives of these animals. And it's not just here, you know? So we have it, we're able to read it.
No, and I was gonna say, and if you go through it before the next meeting, if there's a
That's what we
specific,
need.
it's so vast
Yeah.
that, you know, if you wanna pick a couple of sections of the ordinance, for example, animal cruelty, right, 6-18, you know, you can really dive into that. And if you wanna open it up for discussion, you can ask questions to the staff. Hey, you know, Animal Care Services, how do you all handle calls for animal cruelty? What happens? You know,
What's the process?
what's the process? And we can dive into that, and we can give you the look from this side. You know, you can make suggestions, and that's kind of how you know the plan is to
We're
move
gonna
forward
get
with
this
this, right?
moving.
So you know, here's your copy of the ordinances, and again, the more familiar you are with this, the more suggestions you can make as agenda items, and we can move forward with the discussion.
And the better we know it, Angie, like you all, that you're out there as volunteers, when you get a cop that might not be as knowledgeable, it's something that you can reference. And you know what? If they're not doing their job, then you take their name and number, and we might be able to have a link.
Written on.
Yeah, we might be able to have an email or a link that we can actually put something in writing and send. A lot of the times we want to call someone and it doesn't work that way. Like, it's lost in translation. It has to be put in writing, and it can be a form of complaint or anything like that, so that can be addressed. So we can add that to the agenda as well.
Yes.
But let's get familiarized with all the information that's being provided to us in order for us to have something to discuss.
I would like to see if we can add to the agenda and we can discuss as a group the free animal adoptions that we have.
Okay, we can talk to Christian about that.
I
To
don't
see if
agree
we
with
have
them.
anything.
I don't agree with them, but
I don't either.
Especially that the animals are going out there. My understanding, and based on what I've actually asked, they're not spayed or neutered.
Not
They're
all
the
not
animals.
spay or neutered, not all of them, and we don't really know who they're going to. Do we have a database? Do we have animal cruelty cases? Do they go on a system where we don't release animals to those people? Because it's important for us to clear the shelters, but who these animals are going to
Yeah. And then for
ultimately is
free?
what we're here for.
Absolutely.
You wanna talk towards that?
Well, I think we can place that as
Oh, okay,
as
so
an
future.
item.
So for the next
She-
agenda.
Anything
Ms.
that
Infante
we
would like
wanna
to put that
add,
on
we
the
can
next.
add for the future, and we
Okay.
can have those questions, but if we're able to send Christian this information, then we'll be better prepared in order for us to have that.
But that is an
topic.
excellent topic, and
Yes.
again, we contact Christian, and we should, you know, I think we'll work with the department and give you all ample time before the next meeting to, and you don't even have to wait for the email. You can just send it to him, you know, this tomorrow or this afternoon if you like. Hey, Christian, for the next meeting, I would like this to be an agenda item, and you know, we can go
And
ahead.
also, we can maybe bring information about metropolitan areas that they've stopped their free adoptions because of the amount of animals actually being
Right.
abused. Yes.
Am I allowed to make a suggestion?
No,
as
ma'am.
a citizen?
No, ma'am.
Unfortunately, since it didn't come in and we don't have.
Oh, okay, before, I'm sorry.
Can I give another one? That's selling and free in public?
But,
That's
So
what I
that
wanted to
is something,
consider.
okay,
So-
okay, so this is what we need for everybody to understand in this as a group. Like, we have an agenda, so we need to go through our agenda. Anything that we wanna add, you guys have Christian's email.
Okay.
You
I will
would
send it.
email him, you would send it to him, and it would be added. That way we can go through an agenda and we can stick to something, cause if not, we bounce
Yes.
around and we
Okay.
don't get anything done. But
Okay.
definitely, like, that's what we want.
Or if at the conclusion you wanna do a roundtable or open discussion of
We
some
can do
sort,
that as well.
But we need to continue.
Yes. So, there's also a discussion and possible action regarding the committee bylaws, which we were able to get from Sandra back from 2017. Those have been sent to Christian as well, so we can get a link and see if that is something that we can adopt. Are they in effect? Why were we told that we don't have any bylaws?
Yeah,
so
and I think they were gonna,
if I can add on
revise.
to that, I had the hardest time tracking down these bylaws. I couldn't find them. You know, I checked everywhere.
Let us know, we can help.
No. And it was between, and I kept asking Christian, hey, Christian, have you found them? No, we checked different places. So now that we have these, again, I don't know if they were ever formally adopted. I don't know who drafted these. So
It was
what-
with Homero, and I found them with my email from. I went back to my emails.
right, and I know they were sent out. I guess my question is, I don't know if they were
Have they
formally
been adopted? 'Cause they're not in any, like, they're
Right,
not.
like city secretary didn't have any.
Exactly.
So what we can do is, even if they, we'll re-adopt
Revise.
a set of bylaws. So we're gonna send them out. And if you read through them, if you'd like to make some
Yeah.
suggestions, us
Before
as the
we
legal
adopt them.
department, we're gonna go through as well. There have been a few changes since 2016 to the Priority and Procedures Manual. So if we need to go in there and change some things, we will. But you know, one of the goals for the next meeting is if we can all, you know, kind of put together some bylaws. And then, you know, in the next meeting or two, we can officially adopt these bylaws and we'll have these in place for our meetings moving forward.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's also the discussion and possible action regarding the creation of subcommittees and appointments to these and any matters incident thereof. This is like within our group, there's going to be like, for example, these bylaws. We wanna be able to read them, we wanna be able to discuss, we wanna be able to see if there's something that needs to be added, something that can be changed. So we might not be able to do it in a meeting, so we have a subcommittee that can help, we can do that. So this is just one example, there's gonna be subcommittees for different things. Our question to Christian was, and he'll find out for us, hopefully by the next meeting, is are we allowed to have a volunteer? Like, we've got 2 volunteers here today, you might have people that are interested in helping, are they able to be part of a subcommittee?
I can tackle that for you right now.
Wonderful.
So the short answer is we can put that in the bylaws.
Okay.
There's nothing allowing that in the priorities and procedures manual,
Mhm.
but there are some committees that because I remember that topic came up one of my first meetings, so I looked into it, did some homework on it. We can do it. We just have to put in the bylaws.
Wonderful.
So we can put in the bylaws to where we're allowed to form subcommittees with members with outside of the actual committee here.
And that would be
So-
very, very helpful, because we might have some people that are very knowledgeable in the law, or in bylaws, or in ordinances and things like that, that we might not. And we might be suggesting something, and they might be able to help us right there and then, and that way we don't waste so much time when we
Right.
get it done. Wonderful. Okay, so we're open to open discussion, so we can have maybe a list of anything else that you all wanna add, and anything else that you guys would wanna discuss.
I think one of my
Well,
concerns
To
was Mr.
discuss
Landin's.
in this meeting or for a
No,
future
no,
meeting?
for,
Just in general?
to just add.
For future.
For future meetings? Okay.
I want to bring again, you know, what you made a comment, Mr. Landin, regarding spaying and neutering and how expensive it would be. I mean, I realize that, I mean, and the work that it entails, because I've been a volunteer for LAPS and for Best Friends for Life that are being represented by Ms. Solis, and I see what they're able to do and with minimal amount of money. And I don't understand why the city cannot do that.
It's a policy decision from the city council. I'm not telling you the city can't do it. I'm just explaining to you the potential budgetary impact. As a manager, it's my obligation to be transparent
Right.
to the city manager, who will then take it to council to say, okay, these are your options. And let the council decide if they want to invest $1 million a year in spade and neuter. And they might say yes. I'm just telling you all, that what we're putting in there right now today is not sufficient. It's not.
Well, I've always thought.
I'm sorry, but
We're getting out of
if I may, per TOMA, if it's not on the agenda, we shouldn't dive into it.
Okay.
Now, if you want to give it, you can give a directive, I think, well, by all means, if you want to give a directive for us to place something on the next agenda and be prepared for you at the next
In
meeting.
our bylaws, we
you know.
can also add an open discussion. That way, if there's something we need to discuss, we can do it.
So in the open discussion, it can only be the items on
We
the
don't have
agenda?
an open
The agenda.
discussion right now.
Right now.
But it's something that we might be able to add on the bylaws in order to be able to do it. I had it in another.
And the point is to give notice to individual citizens who want to come in. If there's a certain topic that's on there, they have notice that this topic is going to be discussed and they come in, right? We dive into something that wasn't given, we didn't give the public notice of. It's essentially, it may be a violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act.
So for next meeting,
So-
can we agree that we want to discuss the police department being informed on the ordinance, chapter 6? We want to discuss the free animal adoptions, and we also want to discuss the selling of the free or selling of the pets in public.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we are requesting in which we need documentation or something that they can provide to us so that we can add that for next month?
I think we need to suspend permits for backyard breeders. We're in a horrific pet overpopulation. We should not be issuing
And we can send
permits.
this to Christian to put it on the
Yeah.
agenda.
I mean, I think that's,
Suspension of permits
But even
for
if they do
breeders?
that,
Yes.
the council has to do that.
And it's
The committee
something-
can't
it's
do
for
Or
it.
discussion.
at least the,
Right, yeah, and my recommendation would be, because a lot of these topics are very dense and we could stay on them for a long
Yes.
time. Maybe amongst yourselves, if you can maybe, just decide to limit it to maybe
Looking at the
a
permits
few,
and all
a few
that,
topics
the
per,
fees and everything.
per meeting, just so, because we really could be here for
Yeah.
hours. Because they're all very important topics, so if of course, it's up to you all, but, if we just want to limit it to just maybe a handful or a couple.
That's why we want those subcommittees.
and then, are you gonna send a copy of these previous bylaws?
We will send a
us?
copy of bylaws out to you.
What about, suggestions for revisions or amendments to those bylaws? Do you want us to have those ready? Is it gonna be a Word document in which we can edit?
It should be a Word document. If it's not, I'll form it into a Word document. I would
Or if
say.
you wanna do a Google Docs and make us a suggestion instead of.
I'll try to up my my
Like, you don't have to
technological
give
game.
us you don't have to give us edit access, but if you can make us
Right.
commenters on it, we can at least comment on it so that the main document is.
On what, Monica?
On the bylaws.
bylaws.
Because I don't want us to be here, be like, what do you think about this? No, let's amend
Right,
this,
right,
and,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
That's what we don't.
the goal is if we can send it to y'all, that way by the next meeting, we already have your suggestions, and maybe by that next
Well, that's what
meeting,
I'm
we
saying, if you can
finalize
make
them.
us commenters on the document, we can comment the suggestions without
Just
editing
like
the
in,
main.
Right.
like in,
Right, yeah, well, I'm sure we'll figure that out. Yeah,
Okay.
make it a Google Doc and make it commenters.
Okay. Just because that might expedite the process a
Definitely.
little bit.
Definitely.
And I can help with the amendments of those bylaws if you need help with that.
Or with the document of,
Or with-
doing the commentary, Monica used to do all that for us.
Okay,
It's
great,
wonderful.
yeah, if we need some help with
Yes.
making a Google Doc with those for, technicalities, we'll ask.
question. The meeting agenda, is the meeting agenda posted on the website, on a website or somewhere so that
Yes.
the public
It
is-
was this one that came around, I believe not today's, but like the September, it was on the Laredo Animal Care Facility
It's on-
website.
Where do we post on, is it posted on the website?
No?
It is
I
posted,
saw
it
it.
is posted somewhere, there's a 72-hour posting notice, so we have to post it 72 hours before the meeting. I believe this one was posted last week, but there is a posting requirement that we have to upkeep. I'll get you the exact posting location. I know, like with city council meetings, we post them online, we also post it outside of City Hall.
Okay.
I'll get you the exact locations where this one is posted within the time frame.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I move to adjourn this meeting at 1:31.
I second.
Thank you, everybody.